You guys asked for it. You guys been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it. Today we're gonna dyno tune the E36 with a new 2JZ engine, and we're gonna see how much power we can get out of this thing, so we can go drifting this same month too, hopefully for my birthday. So last night I installed a turbo RPM sensor, so you can see the turbo RPM across the engine RPM. That way we know the exact turbo speed of the GARRETT G35-900, and we can also read exhaust manifold pressure and compare it to the turbo RPM. That way we see if we're maxing out the turbo or what efficiency ratio we're using on the turbo. That way we know if this turbo is right for this engine and horsepower, or we're pushing it, or you can actually squeeze more power out of it. I cleaned up the interior a little bit, so I got a new armrest cover, or the whole armrest plus the armrest cover, because the other one had a hole right here. So this came out pretty clean. I actually found my old glove box. I put this on here so it covers this big old hole that was here. And then I made this custom little aluminum plate so I could mount my TURBOSMART boost gauge and the GARRETT turbo RPM gauge. I had the boost gauge down here before, but it was really hard to read because the gauge is like a deep gauge. So you could not see the top of the gauge being all the way down there. So now it's easy to read and nice. Plus it kind of matches the GARRETT one. Under the hood, the only thing that you'll see different is this little coil thingy. So it's a copper coil. The reason why this line is coiled up like this is to help it cool and dissipate the pressure. And then I made a custom manifold pressure dampener. So instead of having a pulse pressure going to the sensor, actually dampens it so you get a more accurate back pressure reading. On the back of the car, we have 10 gallons of E85 ready to go. I have a spare turbo housing. This is gonna be this is a 1.21 AR housing, so it's bigger than the one that I have right now, which is a 1.01 AR housing. So if I have too much back pressure, I can always switch out to this one real quick and test again. Set up. Car is strapped down and ready to go. Darin is fixing up the last little things to hook up the engine to the dyno. So of course got the RPM pickup. Car strapped down. He's putting some fans to blow air to the radiator and keep everything cool. And we're almost ready to go. The 2JZ engine already surpassed the power of the M50 after all that work that I did on it. I could never get it to be at 400 horsepower with a good tune. Darin is just getting started and we're almost at 500 horsepower. So let's see if we can make at least 650 today. We're now at 554.19 horsepower. Some tire spins, so I lower the air pressure on the back tires, and now it made 587 horsepower. Let's see if we can still keep some grip so we can keep racing the boost. This might be the limiting factor because if we're spinning tire, that means we won't be able to put down an accurate reading on a dyno, so we can't turn up the boost and make more horsepower. That means we're 25 horsepower from my state goal, that if I can make 650, I'm more than happy. Anything above 650, it's just mind-blowing to me. I don't know how I'm going to be able to use that horsepower on the road. So far, we're at spring pressure at 21 PSI, no added timing, still pretty basic and conservative on timing, and we're revving to about 7,300 RPM. Darin's gonna turn up the RPM limiter a little bit higher, maybe 7,800, almost 8,000, and he's gonna add a little bit of timing to see if we can hit 650 on pump gas. 662 horsepower now on pump gas. Darin had the RPM limiter set to 7,200 RPM, so we're not even barely spinning this engine. It still can go up to 8,000, but it might not even be needed. And the boost was only 25 PSI this time, so we went up maybe 4 PSI. The pump gas on this fuel tank, so now we're gonna add E85 and make some more power. I just missed the pull, so we just did 758 horsepower on E85, and it still wants more. 778 horsepower, 561 torque. I'm seriously having second thoughts about this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to run this car as friendly as I was before. I'm honestly a little scared right now. This is gonna be one hell of a ride. This pull we have 794 wheel horsepower with a max torque of 574 pounds of torque. Seems the graph's going pretty good. We have torque coming in before horsepower, so we're getting pretty good response out of the turbo. Around maybe 5,300 RPM is where torque peaks right here with the RPM. So horsepower kind of takes over from here, but then we're also getting more torque over here. I don't know if this is wheel spin or wheel spin over here, I'm not really sure. Everything's looking good on the gauges, temperature is holding fine, we got good oil pressure, fuel pressure is stable. Right now I am running on one Detroit W400 pump. For some reason, when I connect the two pumps, the fuel pressure becomes really uncontrollable on the 85, so I'm only running one pump. As you can see, the relay for the second pump is disconnected. Okay, Darin's gonna try to push it to 800 horsepower because I don't want to stay at 756. Just like 4 horsepower from 800, I think it's gonna sound like a way cooler number to have 800 than 756 horsepower. No, 796 horsepower. This is it, guys. We're gonna make 800 wheel horsepower in this run. Let's see if we can do it. Right, here we go. Wheel horsepower and 582.74 foot-pounds of torque at maybe not even 8,000 RPM, or did we pass 8,000 RPM? I don't know if the dyno is the same as accurate as the engine. Final numbers for now. I don't know if we're gonna do another pull or not, but we're at 808 wheel horsepower at 27 PSI. Also, really cool fact, the turbo RPM sensor was reading 130,000 RPMs on the turbo. Now, one thing to know, these turbos, like max efficiency, you're about 175, 180,000 RPM, so we still have a lot more out of this turbo, and we're only at 808 wheel horsepower. The stock map sensor built into the Haltech ECU goes up to about 29 PSI, so we can't go up from there, so we're stuck at 808 horsepower, unless I upgrade to an outboard map sensor that can read more than 30 PSI. Look at how shiny the tire got from spinning. So right now, I don't know if I'm excited or scared, or actually both. I want to run the car really badly, but I'm also super scared that this car is gonna be incredibly fast and scary. So I don't know how I say. I have no idea what to expect out of this car once I get on it on the road. Car feels amazing, drives super fast. We did go a little over boost by 2.5 PSI, so we were supposed to be hitting 27 PSI, we hit 29. So the ECU gave me an error code by exceeding the map values. The computer can only read up to 30 PSI with internal map sensor. At 29 PSI, it will give you an error code that you're literally about to max it out, so it won't read anything above that, therefore it will not compensate any additional fueling. So I sent the logs back to Darin. Darin sent me a revised version of the tune with a little bit less boost, and now it's running perfect. But I do have to get this car washed because I'm dropping off the car over at Media 1 today to get wrapped, so that's gonna be in a separate video, guys. That's all I got for the dyno video. The car is amazing. Kind of sucks now that I'm gonna be without the car for about a week while it's getting wrapped. There's this really cool event called Spring Break Bash coming up in a couple of days, so I'm gonna be running that with the E36, which is hopefully gonna be a really beautiful colored car with a cool livery and also making 800 wheel horsepower. While this car is extremely powerful now, I'm literally not very comfortable hit on the street or nothing, so I'm gonna wait for actual track testing, and we're definitely gonna roast some tires with this thing. The 265s right now are literally not cutting it. I normally use 245 with tires for drifting. I don't know if I should stick with the 245s at low air pressure. The reason why I'm doing that is to not destroy the axles all the time, since I'm running non-M axles. With a 265 I will get more grip, but then it will be a lot more stress on the axles, which is what I'm worried about snapping all the time, especially clutch kicking in 4th gear at the track or something. Will definitely grenade the axles. So I need to decide on which tire size to go and which model tire for drifting. So that's gonna be my homework for the next couple of days. So stay tuned for more awesome content. Please smash that like button and subscribe for more awesome videos. Alberto Bigboost here. I'll see you in the next video with the car fully wrapped. Well, actually, it might not be the next video because I have other stuff to film in between, but it'll be maybe like 2 videos away.